Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen, to round 5 of the World Tour Season 2 here at Toga Motorsport. We are here tonight, as you can see, in the wonderful sunny Italy at the wonderful circuit, historic circuit here at Imola. We are getting ready to go racing again here. I'm sorry if we haven't got liveries showing. I completely forgot. I wasn't supposed to be the main streamer tonight, but unfortunately Mac has had to deal with something personal, and I was left with not enough time to get all the liveries synced. So some of them will be showing and some of them won't, dependent on when my last sync was. So I do apologise if your livery is missing, but there's not a lot I can do about that right now. However, one door closes and another one opens, and that means that I'm joined by my wonderful little Irish friend here, Barry, joining me in the comms box this evening. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Well, not great. Supposed to be racing tonight, but I've been very ill the last few days, so I have resigned from this race and decided to yap about it instead. Yeah, I mean, I could have taken part, but I had no practice, so it was just basically a case of no point racing. I would have been last or taking someone out or something, so. But yeah, back yapping as usual. My favourite subject, some might say.
Yeah, for sure. And it is really wonderful to have you in the comms box tonight. Even though I know you would have loved to be racing, it is really unfortunate when these illnesses strike. You know, we've all obviously all having lived through the global pandemic. We all know what it's like when you're too ill to race, and it really is an annoying feeling, especially when you end up missing out on your favourite track. I know that I've been in that situation before, missing out on a race at Kyalami, which is one of my personal favourites because of illness, and it is just a right bummer, really, isn't it?
Yeah, Kyalami is probably top 3 tracks, so I would feel the exact same.
Yeah, for sure.
Imola's up there. It's probably I don't know where I'd rank it. Probably in the top 5. It's just a really fun track to drive.
Yeah,
lots of nice
absolutely.
sweeping corners. It just feels really nice when you hook up a good lap.
Yeah, absolutely. It is, and it is always just really gutting when you've been looking forward to one race or one event for a long time, and now you know that you're not going to be able to take part in it. It is really disappointing. But hey ho, you're here now. You're going to have a better time with me.
I was just about to say, I'm pretty sure this is the first time we've been in the calls box together.
If not the first time, it has definitely been a while. If it's not the first time.
There might have been once like a while ago, but I'm struggling to remember. To be fair, my brain's a bit mushy this week for obvious reasons. So don't go too hard on me tonight. But no, yeah, it's gonna be good fun. Now, like I said, I think any chances of getting a good position in the championship overall is gone. After I think this is I missed Alton Park, which is round 3, and I'm missing this one obviously, and I had disconnect issues in Zolder, so the three races had no results in really. So
yeah, for sure.
Oh well, it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. The bonus now is that we've managed to fix our server issues. For those of you who watch Toga Motorsports regularly, you'll know that we have been suffering from some server problems recently, mostly in the form of random full disconnects for drivers. Thankfully, we have found a solution to that that has involved essentially just digging it into our pockets and paying for an actual host. So we've essentially got a remote access PC now, which is completely overkill. We don't need it at all. It's got 8 terabytes of NVMe SSD and 128 gigabytes of RAM, and is running on one of the newer top-end Ryzen CPUs. So it essentially can do anything we need it to, which is brilliant. It's also got gig up and gig down internet. So those connection problems that we've been having and the lag and stuff, that has all been negated now, which is good.
Yeah, I guess it really just, if we're gonna go big or go home kind of thing. I think it was the solution in the end.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But no, it's a beast of a server. Like it's gonna really serve any needs that Toga has for quite a while.
Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely,
from what
absolutely.
we've seen, we've had zero issues since we moved to it. So touch wood, of course, because knowing me, I'll end up commentators cursing the damn server. But yeah, it's really really good. It's a big step up. Obviously, we've had issues for weeks, and Dex and the team in the background just working so hard to get it sorted out. Big ups to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, it's probably at the point where we should talk about the qualifying session that's happening.
Oh, there's a qualifying session.
With with just over 5 minutes to go, the current state of affairs is that Dan Edvardson leads the pack in the number 180 BMW, leads the pack by 0.6 of a second over Alexei Degani in the Bentley, who has been very, very consistent in the top end so far in this championship. But Dan Edvardson really stormed onto the scene since Alton Park. Wasn't there in Zolder to pick up the pieces when Alexei Degani had a disconnect, but since then has won last week's race that I commentated on at whichever track that was. Genuinely can't remember. It was only a week ago, and I haven't got a clue. The Red Bull Ring, that was the one. You're right.
Yeah. That was a fun one.
Yeah, with Alexei Degani in finishing second, I believe, in that one. So these guys really fighting it out for the top position. Then we've got Francesco Maggio in the number 4 FRS factory McLaren car. That car should have a livery, but doesn't. Again, I apologise. Then we've got Callum Jones in the Toga Esports. That's really a livery I should have downloaded hard onto my PC, but I don't. Sorry, Callum. He's currently sitting P4, just under a second, 9.927 off of pole, with Yuval Sharon just 3 thousandths behind him at the moment in the SWIT racing team, which I believe is a conglomerate of drivers from Switzerland and Italy, which is why they've got the name SWIT, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Then we got Davide Mandalesi in the VM Technology 71 BMW. He sits in 6th at the moment, just over a second off of the pole position time. Then we got Dario Vianello in the sim racing team. Number 69 Ferrari 296. In fact, we've got 3 Ferraris in a row here. The number 69 296. Then we've got the number 8 Conquest Racing of Bruno Zanchi, which is a... That's not a 296, is it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
I don't know if it's got... Has it got the fairings over the wheel? I can't see because it's all white.
I've got the actual livery. That's a 296. Hang on.
Maybe it is. I don't know. It very much looks to me like a 488. No, it has got the fairings. I just had to wait for it to turn away from the sun. That is a 296.
Well, I thought I was going mad there. I was going back and forth.
Mate, I couldn't see those wheel fairings for the life of me. The little fins over the top of the wheel arch. I couldn't see them at all because of that all white livery. Then we got the number 96. Oh, just as I was saying that, actually, Bruno Sanchez improved up to 8th, put himself just within a second of the pole position time. So then we got Davide Canton. Now this is where it gets really difficult for me during the race because we've got like 4 different people who have names starting with a D, and I will get them mixed up the whole race. I do apologise. I'm going to call you all the wrong names if your name starts with a D, because all I see is the initial, and then I've just got to try and remember based on your last name and what car you're driving. So the number 96 of Davide Canton at the moment is on an improving lap. It's not going to find him a position, but it is going to move him closer to P8 of Dario Vianello. That is in the Cube Controls Reparto Corse number 96 Ferrari. Then we got Francesco Sala in the one of the FRS factory cars, the number 2 BMW. Airy Fastel, one of Toga's own. In terms of staffing, not because he drives for the team. Rat, honestly. Can't believe it. Being a staff member and not driving for the Toga Esports team. Shame.
Shotgun behaviour.
Driving in the Airy Sport number 17 Aston Martin. That Aston Martin, Airy Fastel's trademark, I think you could say. Disappointed that I can't show you the livery for that one, because it is a cracking one. Airy Fastel, a brilliant, brilliant livery maker.
Yeah, I have the livery and it's really, really nice.
Then we've got Pierluigi Lelli from Lelli Racing Team in the number 128 Aston Martin. Both Aston Martins pretty dead even for pace at the moment. Only 0.2 of a second separating them across this track. Then we've got Dave Brewster in the Inception Racing McLaren. That is a base game livery, which is why it's on the car. And that is the number 24 for Dave Brewster. Then we've got Kostas Bevudas, sorry, from Greece, in the For the Swarm 888 McLaren 720S GT3 Evo, because GT3 names are always really easy to say and not tongue twisters at all. And then rounding out the field at the moment in P15 and about 4 seconds off the pace, although I believe, I hope for Andrea Morganella that is due to lack of being able to get a clean lap, because he is a faster driver than that, is Andrea Morganella in the number 6 VM Tech Team 3 car.
I don't think he's not going to get another lap in either, so I think that's his qualifying.
That is going to be his qualifying done. 10 seconds to the line from here is not enough. It is a long run to the finish line here in Imola.
No, there's not a chance he's getting another lap in. Yeah, he's just going to the pits.
Yeah, really, you need 10 seconds when you're hitting the apex at Ravazza 2, that very final corner. That is kind of the minimum.
Absolutely. Who's on a final flying lap?
So Dan Edvardson has stayed in the pits. Interesting choice for the leader. He's hoping that Alexei Dogani can't get close enough, which he doesn't.
Aries nearly half a second up. It's going to go into maybe the top 8 here.
It's going to be a solid lap. Ninth. Just 17 hundredths of a second. Sorry, 17 thousandths of a second off of Davide Mandalesi, who is himself improving, only just shy of a 10th improvement at the moment, coming into... we're coming towards Acqua Minerale. There we go, I managed to find myself on track.
That's the only corner name I know on this track, really. The Ravazzas and Acqua Minerale is all I know.
I know we've got Variante Alta, which is easy because it's just the corner that's at the top of the track. It's the highest corner, which is the chicane.
Yeah.
Coming into Sector 3. Then you've got Tamburello is turn 1, 2 and 3.
Yes, okay, I remember that now.
And then I can never remember what the name of the hairpin is. The hairpin name always evades me. Davide Canton improving there. Not in positions, but in time. It was an improvement. Up to P6 for the start of the race.
Davide Mandalesi is about to go to P6. Or not?
I believe the session had already finished. I don't think we had enough overtime, so I don't think Davide's lap counted.
Huh. I would have thought there would have been enough time to do a lap, but maybe not. Or maybe it wasn't valid. That's why it ended. It just was.
Yeah, maybe he hadn't validated. Actually, I hadn't thought about
that. Race control didn't show up, but race control half the time lies to you. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just doesn't show the right stuff, so you can never be too sure.
No, for sure. Okay, then whilst we're waiting, we'll do a quick walkthrough of the grid here. Obviously, Dan Edvardson there at the front, the number 180 BMW. There's been relatively little change from when I read out the 5-minute to go results, actually. Then following up is Alexei Dogani in the number 61 Bentley. I love that people are still driving the Bentley in these series. And then the number 33 Ferrari 296 of Francesco Maggio. No, sorry, that's Yuval Sharon. I'm just completely lying to you guys. Sorry, that's really bad of me. Then we got Francesco Maggio in the number 4 McLaren behind him. That's who I was saying. And then we got Callum Jones in the 48 Ford Mustang, the only Ford in the field, and has been since the beginning of the series, I do believe. Then we've got 2 of the Ferraris, the number 96 296 of, I want to say Davide Canton. I was right with D. Let's go. Come on. It's a good start, guys. Don't expect it to stay this good. Bruno Zanchi lines up P7 in the number 8 Ferrari, with Davide Mandalesi behind him in P8 in the number 71 VM Tech BMW M4, which actually the GT3 Evo version of this car is going to make its debut at the Dubai 24 Hours in just a couple of months' time. So keep your eye out for that. That's going to be an interesting reveal. Ooh. Then we've got the number 17 of Eri Fastel in the Aston Martin, the normal version, not the Evo version that has already been released because it's not in the game yet, lining up in P9. And rounding out P10 is Dario Vianello from Sim Racing Team. I managed to get another one of the D names right. Let's go. Come on, guys. This is happening. Then Francesco Sala is the first man outside of the top 10. P11 for him in the number 2 BMW M4. Then we've got Pierluigi Lelli from Lelli Racing Team. The number 128 Aston Martin lines up P12. Then we've got Dave Brewster behind in the number 24 McLaren GT3 720S Evo. It's a combination of those words. I didn't get them in the right order, but they're all there. Then we got Kostas Bevedas in the 888 McLaren, and then rounding out the field, as I said, is Andrea Morganella in the number 6 VM Tech BMW M4.
Nicely done. Yeah, you got all the D names correct.
I did get all the D names correct, which I genuinely wasn't expecting to, so I'm going to take that as a win.
We need to designate the two Davides, Davide 1 and Davide 2.
Yeah.
You'll be glad that I'm not racing tonight because we had a bit of a dust up in Red Bull Ring last week, and obviously we had an incident in Zolder as well.
yeah, absolutely.
So we're having a few little door banging incidents. Oh, the Red Bull Ring, I had to give the place back because I.
Oh, Andrea Morganella has not made the start.
Oh,
he
no.
has been teleported to the pit lane. He hasn't made the start of this formation lap. We are underway for the formation lap. Alexei Degani leaving a little bit of a gap here. Tactical, possibly. We will wait and find out. And whilst we're doing this formation lap, I'm going to give you guys some fun facts, because I've loaded up Wikipedia.
Nice.
So the full name for the Imola circuit is, it's officially called the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Edino Ferrari. I feel like I nailed that pronunciation. Any Italians in chat, tell me how badly I butchered it.
You did pretty well.
So the circuit is 4.909 kilometers, which is pretty much slap bang in the middle of the FIA Grade 1 scale, isn't it? You've got to be more than 3 kilometers and less than 7 kilometers, unless you're Monaco or Spa, at which point you can do whatever you like.
I was about to say, isn't Spa like 7.2 or 7.3?
Yeah, Spa's like 10 meters too long or something stupid. It's a ridiculously small amount. So we hosted the first Formula 1 race here in 1963, the 1963 Imola Grand Prix and the 1979 Dino Ferrari Grand Prix. Those were both non-championship rounds. Its first official championship race for F1 was the 1980 Italian Grand Prix, which was then rebadged to the San Marino Grand Prix every year from 1981 to 2006. Safety concerns were raised at the circuit, which is why the layout is different from its historical layout. Tamburello used to be a flat-out turn 1 until the sad passing of Ayrton Senna back in 1984. 1984 or 1994? It was 84, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, because 94 would have been like Benetton times, and that wasn't a thing yet. No, it was 1994. Damn, that's way later than I thought it was. Fair enough.
I was about to say, was it 83 or 84?
No, it was 94. Yeah, 94. Obviously, that same weekend we lost Roland Ratzenberger as well, who is... fun fact for you, trivia fact, Roland Ratzenberger is the only driver to be awarded the World Drivers' Championship posthumously. He had enough of a championship lead coming into the race at Imola that he still maintained a points lead over P2 of the Drivers' Championship by the time that the final round had finished.
Oh. That's wild. There you go. That is a fact I didn't know.
I've got a brain full of facts, mate. A brain full of facts. They never stop.
Oh, my brain can. I don't think my brain can pull out a single fact right now. I've ever tried.
Anyways, here we go.
Spent the last 2 days on the sofa, just beached.
just potato mode. Yeah, absolutely. I understand.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. An hour and 20 minutes here at the brilliant Imola circuit. We are going to get rolling any second, giving each other a wide berth down this relatively narrow pit straight. At the moment, are the leaders.
The cars on the left are they're very left and right. They're not even.
No, I know, not converging at all. The start line is very late here at Imola. It is after... There we go. We get the release now. And Alexei Degani has got the jump. He's on the outside line though. Has he managed to clear the BMW? I think he might have. Indeed he has. He's ahead of Dan Edfordson into turn 1. Makes that move stick.
Sharp defence from Maggio as well there, as Fasttail loses a position. So does Salah down in P12
Yeah, it's
now.
busy back here. Salah down to P12. Lely has moved up ahead of him, and Dario Vianello has managed to get ahead of Airy Fasttail as well. The sim racing team number 69 getting ahead of the number 17 Airy Sport Aston Martin for now.
And Morganello's just coming around turn 1 now. Unfortunate that I'm assuming they just didn't get their setup locked in time.
Yeah, just wouldn't have dropped off the air jacks in time.
It's happened to me before where I've like done my setup and I have to wait for 30 seconds, so I'll sit on my phone for 2 minutes and then it'll be like, oh, I've missed it completely.
yeah, absolutely. I think everyone's been there at least once, especially if you do like LFM races. I've missed a couple doing LFM.
Sometimes LFM is more fun if you do last to first. Or
you tend to avoid some of the chaos as well.
You do. We all did LFM racing was a Monday night, and that was absolute carnage.
Mate, it always is.
Yeah, I think I got sent into the 4th dimension on lap 1. There was a Lamborghini coming down the hill at Keilami and just... it was a racing incident in the end after I looked back at it, but at the time I thought he just completely annihilated me.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're coming down the hill, turning left, we both just converged on each other.
So first laps are on the board, and I tell you what, Alexei Degani, 0.8 of a second faster than Dan Edfordson on that first lap. Oh, there's a move. Davide Mandalesi has gone off track actually in his pursuit of getting past. I believe that's Daniele Canton.
Davide Canton.
Davide Canton.
Davide 2.
Davide Dos, indeed. Yeah. So down to
4 positions.
Yeah, down to P11 for Davide there. That's really Davide Mandalesi. That is not Davide Canton. Sorry, I need to specify. In the BMW number 71. That's unfortunate for him. We'll have a little bit of a look back, see what happened. Oh, I've not rewound far enough. Sorry guys, you're just going to see the same 30 seconds that you've already seen because you've been watching it on stream for the last 2 minutes. I do apologise.
Yeah, I would attempt to rewind it, but I've been having RAM issues with ACC the last few weeks.
Yeah, it is a...
To which I angrily just ordered more RAM the other night.
it is a bit of a resource hog, isn't it?
Yeah, because I had 16 gig of RAM, and it's normally fine, but ACC keeps crashing because of RAM problems.
I can't remember if I've got 16 or 32.
I bought 32, and it's coming at some point next week.
Nice. Yeah, gap at the front is up to a second.
The first, second, third, and fourth are separated by a second each, at least.
Yeah.
Starting to pull away from each other quite fast.
Yeah,
although
gap's just opening
Jones is right on the tail of Maggio. Like that Mustang's pace is nuts in the straights.
Yeah, straight line moves are regular for the Ford Mustang. Not brilliant on the brakes, but he's got the move done. Yeah, cuts across the nose. He was confident that he had that.
Round the outside of Tamburello. Lovely stuff. Well done, Cal. That's P4. Now he's going to hunt down Sharon in the 33 Ferrari. For P3, coincidentally. A lot of threes there. As Zanchi is also now right on the tail end of Maggio, so that McLaren's not having a good time at the moment. He's getting attacked left and right. First by a Mustang and next by a Ferrari. That's
yeah, absolutely.
He can't go on the attack against Callum now because he has to now think about playing defensive, which is never fun.
No, absolutely. These guys are close. That Ferrari closed up a lot through Acca Minerali. Took a good 0.3 of a second out just through that that 2-corner complex.
Yeah, just the Ferrari just looks a little bit more confident on the brakes, especially
better on the curbs as well. Look at that. The amount of curbing that 296 could take compared to the McLaren was huge.
Yeah, just this is the hardest part of the track in my opinion, picking your braking spot for this corner.
Yeah, downhill into Ravazza, it's always difficult.
Even like a meter or two late, you've messed
off in
up
the gravel. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can sometimes recover it, but like then you lose so much speed through the corner, so you just lose a bunch of time.
Yeah, it is that. It's that downhill nature of the braking zone is so difficult to master. Ideally, for every sim racer and real life racer, ideally every braking zone would be uphill, because it means that you spend as little time on the brakes as physically possible. Because
Yeah.
you've got the weight of the car slowing you down, and you've got gravity slowing you down, because your car's naturally trying to roll backwards down the hill.
Yeah.
So yeah, downhill braking zones are really difficult. In fact, uphill braking zones is what makes this hairpin so much fun, because you brake really late into the hairpin there.
I love that corner. Because I'm driving the Porsche, the World Tour. I love that corner in the Porsche, especially because the way the Porsche gets so much out of corner acceleration, and especially that hairpin.
Tosa, that's the name of the corner.
Ah, nice one.
That's the hairpin. There we go. I knew I had it.
Because the Porsche gets so much like out of the corner acceleration because it can just squat down and just get away. That hairpin is so good for overtaking in that car.
No, I'm sure.
To be fair, Callum Jones is nearly cleared a second on the McLaren P5 now.
Yeah, and
But
only
the
half a second.
Ferrari's not really mounting an attack yet. Maybe just biding his time for a moment.
Yeah, and it will be easier once the McLaren of Francesco Maggio isn't feeling the effect of the tow, the slipstream that Ford Mustang is giving him at the moment. Obviously, the Ford in terms of slipstream is it's aerodynamically, in terms of shape, very similar to the BMW M4. The Ford Mustang is faster in a straight line, but it punches a very big hole in the air, the same as the BMW M4. Although obviously the BMW doesn't have the same top-end speed as the Ford.
Yeah.
Good evening,
Well,
Peter. Nice to see you, mate.
The BMW is slightly better in the corners than the Mustang, so that's where the differential comes in.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the size of hole that Ford Mustang punches in the air does mean that even if a car is right on the limit of being a second behind, they're still feeling a relatively hefty aero effect in terms of how easily their car pushes through the air.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of Mustangs, he's caught right onto Sharon now. He's right on the tail through Acro Minerale, about 3/10 back.
Yeah, and Bruno Zanchi is only a tenth behind Francesco Maggio now as well. Like I said, the second that slipstream has been lost, Bruno Zanchi has pulled right up to the back.
He didn't have a great exit through the chicane there, but he was nearly pushing Maggio around the chicane. The Ferrari was that close, pushing the car to the limits there to try and stay close for this straight to get the position, because this is probably your best bet in the lap, is down the back straight.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's such a tight track; it's hard to overtake anywhere else. As Callum is now, he's 2/10 behind Sharon and closing fast. Will he be able to pull alongside that? He's not going to be able to do it now. He's going to just hold off. Hold fire, try again next lap. But he's clearly got the pace there against that Ferrari. It's just when he can get past. Oh, he's going side. Oh, never mind. The camera angle was not in my
lying
favor
to you
there.
a little bit.
Yeah,
or did you get lost in the trees? Yeah.
The camera angle looked like he was side by side going down.
It was close. He was momentarily plus 0.0, so he was right with him for a moment, but decided to back out of it into the second chicane.
Normally the wiser idea in this track, because if you get it wrong, the walls aren't far away.
Yeah, the walls or the gravel trap aren't far away at all.
Yeah. Oh, a Sharon goes wide through the first part of Acro Minerale.
Yeah.
Look how close Callum's got. Look at that. Look at the run.
Yuval Sharon sets up defensively, but I don't think Callum is thinking about a move here. Not a corner that you can take too wide. He's setting up for a run to Ravazza. He's got the run to Ravazza. Here we go. Callum Jones now is going to be exploiting all of the horsepower under the hood of that Mustang. But Yuval Sharon, even with that worse exit, has managed to get a decent top speed on it.
If Callum can get a good exit here, he's gonna go for the overtake.
Yeah, but
he's
now
so much closer this time.
Francesco Maggio and Bruno Zanchi are right back in it again. The cost of being held up by a mistake in front is that it widens, allows more people in. Here we go, side by side now.
Just look at that grunt of the Mustang.
It
He's started
just
braking him here,
pulls.
and he's gonna get that move done. He's on the P3.
Yeah, onto the podium for Callum Jones. Really nicely done. Needs to watch out now for a counter move from Yuval Sharon. He's going to let the Ferrari think about the inside. Yuval Sharon thinks better of it. Such a high commitment chicane here, this third and fourth corner on the track. Sorry, fourth and fifth corner on the track, that it really sometimes isn't worth it. Ooh, a half look from Bruno Zanchi on Francesco Maggio as well.
Oh, that could have ended badly.
Yeah, that could have ended really nastily. Yeah, so
I was just gonna say that 4 and 5 corner. There's only really one line through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you try and go too wide, it's gonna be difficult.
So, interestingly, on that last lap, Callum Jones and Yuval Sharon lost 2 seconds to the leaders.
Wow, I've just noticed that Callum is 6.5 seconds behind Dan Everson in P2.
Yeah, and most of that is from this... oh! Francesco Maggio has a half spin. That's Bruno Zanchi through. On the exit of Variante Outer, the McLaren takes too much curbing for how low that car rides. And gets out of it. Or was there a tap from Bruno Zanchi because he's letting him back through? I think it might have been a tap from Bruno. Yeah, he's let Francesco Maggio back through. Good sportsmanship if that is the case.
Yeah, exactly what I was about to say. I would assume there must have been a tap there. Maybe slightly outbraked himself and just tapped the rear of the
yeah. Or just misjudged because the McLaren is slower through that chicane due to the fact that it can't take the curbs, whereas that Ferrari is pretty comfortable to mash those curbs. So you can carry just an extra couple of kilometres an hour through because you can take a shorter distance. Here we go, the move now from Bruno Zanchi. It's in the braking zone. It's late. It's pretty perfectly judged. It was very close to contact, and now they've both got to watch out again. Because now we've got Davide Canton closing up to them. I got it right. Let's go. Davide Canton and Dario Vianello actually closing up to the back. Oh, Bruno Zanchi goes off.
Oh, Zanchi's side by side with Canton.
Yeah, there was a little bit of door banging in the middle of the corner. Nothing penalisable though.
Yeah. Just hard good racing as Canton has another look, but decides against it.
Yeah,
we've now got a McLaren pulling a train of Ferraris now. Yeah,
these Ferraris are going to be all in each other's mirrors for the next few laps, I expect. And not far behind, Airy Fastel, only just about 2 seconds. If these guys fight, we could have a 6 or 7 car train here before too much longer.
Fastil was pulling Lely and Davide Mandolese along.
Here we go, Davide Canton's got the run. He's got the inside, coming down the hill towards Ravazza 1. Bruno Zanchi would probably be sensible to let him go, not try and race this position. He's going to try and race this position. There's a little bit of contact, side by side. A little bit of door banging. Davide Canton's through, and I think Dario might follow. No, it looks like...
Dario's nearly side by side, switches over to the inside.
I think Davide's going to have enough slipstream from... Sorry, I think Bruno's going to have enough slipstream from Davide that he won't be able to make that run work. No, he hasn't.
Oh, Davide Mandolese makes a move on Lely for P10 down the turbo.
Oh, and spins.
Oh, Davide spins.
Yeah, got on the curbs and spins. And the Aston Martin round as well.
Ah, that's unfortunate. Aston Martin just a passenger there in that incident.
And then drives into the wall by himself.
That's unfortunate. Obviously, Davide had a half spin there and just collected the Aston Martin. Unfortunate. So he's now going to be playing recovery drive now from now on. 65 minutes still to go. Plenty of time to, catch up if he can get the pace. It looks like he does, especially with all these cars fighting. Davide's doing last lap was a 41.6, so. All the cars ahead of him and Salah are doing like 42s, 43s. That'll be because they're fighting, of course. But the more they fight, the better it is for everyone behind. Yeah,
for sure.
As Aries now nearly a second behind Dario, so really playing into the Aston Martin's hands at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was just about to checking on the gap to the leader as Degani's 2.5 seconds clear of Dan Everson now, and was 7 tenths faster in that last lap.
Yeah. Here we go. The run now from Dario Vianello. Get the better exit than Bruno Zanchi. Inside line coming towards Variante Tamburello. And I think that's going to be that done. Ooh.
Cut across a little bit close there, but he got the move done.
Yeah, it did get close. And Airy Fastow now within 0.7 of a second of Bruno Zanchi, 0.6. So this backward slide is not going to slow down for Bruno Zanchi, I don't think. We'll wait and see.
I'm pretty sure this is one of the Aston Martin's more favourite tracks as well.
Yeah, the Aston Martin is very comfortable around Imola.
So I believe Airy has said that the car feels really nice around Imola. So
yeah, mostly because of how brilliantly it rides curbs, and there's plenty of them to get on top of around here.
So I'm expecting a fight between Ferrari and Aston Martin very shortly. As Zanchi's got really close to Dario again, but then had a terrible exit through Acqua Minerale and just lost a second there. As Airy's going to be right behind going into the chicane. You see how much more of the curb that Aston can take. Nearly eats the curb on the way through. Look at the run. Might try and force a mistake here down into Ravazza. Thinking of just not going for the move there, sticking behind. Azanchi sliding through Ravazza 2. I'm saying that right?
Yeah.
So, will Airy have a move down turn 1? Looks like they've definitely got some pace against the Ferrari, so...
The Aston Martin top end isn't brilliant, but he is sat in the slipstream. I'd say that on a normal day, the Ferrari and the Aston Martin's top end speed is pretty much a dead heat, which means that he really needs to get deep into that slipstream to make anything happen.
Yeah, hadn't quite got enough there that lap, but you could see that wasn't far behind, so just needs to wait for the mistake. Once the mistake comes in, the Ferrari having to constantly defend, try and sort of, keep the pressure on so that the mistake will come, and then just capitalise on it. Is really what Ari has to do now to try and get that P8.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan Edfordson.
Sorry,
I was just going to say Dan Edfordson falling away a little bit more. Gap is up to 4 seconds now in the lead for Alexei Degani.
Yeah, as he must have had a moment there because Callum Jones gained like a second there.
Yeah, I think he has. I would try and say the team name, but it's a Danish team name, and I just don't even know how to approach trying to say that.
I would completely butcher it. It looks like they're starting to pull away a little bit. Sharon's lost nearly 4 seconds to Callum. Maggio's lost 3.5 to Sharon. Davide Canton's 3 seconds back again.
Yeah,
so they're all starting to spread out.
Although Maggio was faster than Sharon last time out by, 0.6 of a second, that is. So that gap is moving in the right direction for Francesco Maggio right now, but he needs to really keep on it. He needs every lap to be faster than Yuval, not just, kind of 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 laps faster.
Yeah, maybe he's found a little bit of the pace he was maybe lacking there at the starting few laps where he was sort of being challenged for positions. Now that he's got a little bit of free air, he can sort of push a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe showing the true pace that he's got now that he doesn't have to think about the cars behind. There's a little bit of gap between a lot of the cars from P5 to P9, but realistically, only a couple of seconds between each other each. So, in our helicams, you can still pretty much see them not far behind each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And with these gaps, all it takes is, a gap of 3 seconds or 2 seconds. All that takes is one mistake. Yeah. And suddenly that gap is within slipstream, and then you've got a fight on your hands. So the gaps might look like, we're not seeing a lot of racing at the moment, but all it takes is for one of these guys to get sideways over hitting a Kerberon, and suddenly we've got 3 or 4 cars back bunched up again.
Absolutely. And all these drivers are incredibly fast. I've raced against quite a few of them in this series, and it's hard to keep up. They are all really fast. I like to think I'm all right in terms of pace, but some of these guys are another level. So I fully expect. Oh, Azanchi's in the pits early. That's an interesting call.
Yeah, an hour left to go. That is early.
Going for quite the undercut, assuming that's what he's doing. But is the undercut even good around here? I have no idea. In GT3s, I have no clue.
It's difficult. You'll gain a lot of time initially, but the tyre drop-off is relatively nasty around here, so...
Yeah, because you're constantly putting load in the tyres because the corners keep coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a lot...
Tires...
No, you go.
Go on.
No, you go.
I was just want to say that they don't really get a break in terms of like the corners. As soon as you're out of one, you're braking for the next.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're all pretty high-load corners as well.
Yeah.
A lot of fast directional changes, which tyres don't like. When you're changing direction, changing steering angle in between apexes of a chicane, it tears the... This is in real life racing I'm talking. ACC attempts to simulate it. Does an okay job. When you change directions in a chicane, essentially you have to move the front tyres. The grip doesn't come immediately when you change direction. You have to turn the wheel, and then the wheel picks up grip in the new direction after you've turned. So there's a moment where the tyre and the weight of the car is still going in the other direction to where you're now turning. And when that happens, you get micro tears across the surface of the tyre. And when you've got so many chicanes as you do here, you've got these 2 really high-load chicanes just in the first sector alone. Then you think, you've got Acca Minerali later on in the lap where you're putting high load through the tyres. The tyres do take a beating around here.
Yeah, they really do. So, if it was me, I would have been doing a 40-40 split in terms of when to pit. I wouldn't have been going for any sort of undercut. Or overcut for that matter, just to have relatively similar tyre wear throughout both stints, because the tyre wear is just that high. It's hard to judge. Yeah, with the high tyre wear, now that I'm thinking about it, undercut I don't think is a good idea.
No, not unless you're doing not unless I wouldn't say the undercut is worth it unless you're doing like 35 and 45.
Yeah, like a couple of minutes wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, but you'd also have to be like 100% confident that you were going to gain time or gain positions from doing it.
Yeah, the first few laps of the undercut, you'd have to be putting in monster times, and you'd have to be basically like you have to probably gain about 10 to 15 seconds overall on a lot of the cars around you because once it comes to that, you're going to probably lose near enough that with how much more worn your tires will be at the end. You'll lose probably a good at least half second a lap if your tires are 20 minutes older around here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know which cars would be worse on tyre wear here. Do you think? I'm not too sure. Mustang would probably be pretty bad.
Yeah, the Mustang might not be brilliant because it does take, the lower downforce cars always take more out of their tyres because they're relying more on the mechanical grip to get through the corners.
Yeah.
And the Mustang is brilliant in a straight line because it's not necessarily fabulous in the corners. Obviously, you can mitigate that because, you've got the option to say, well, I'll just run with the same top speed as the other guys do and just have less and put more downforce on so that I have the same pace through the corners and the same pace in a straight line. But, what's the point in doing that? Because then you've got no advantage anywhere.
Yeah, the whole point of the Mustang is to have the advantage in a straight line.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, because it's a straight line where you do your overtakes, isn't it? If you've got a slower car in front of you on the apex of a corner, you can't overtake them. or at least you'll find it very difficult to. So being slower through the corners and faster in a straight line is generally always the better setup to run with, unless it's a wet race, at which point put on your downforce, because you will get mugged in the corners.
Yeah, because if you're the slower car, but you're faster in a straight line and not a corner, and the car behind you is better in the corners, you can just hold them up.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, if you park the car in the apex, they're not going to be able to do anything. Unless they get a really nice liner out the outside or something, then they can maybe make it work. But 8 or 9 times out of 10, if you park the car in the apex well enough, they can't do anything. And then you just use the straight lines to run away.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really all about just playing to each car's strengths, which the Mustang, it's very clear what its strengths and weaknesses are. But Callum is such a good driver in that car. Slightly insane, but a great driver of the car. I commend him. Especially during the Red Bull Ring wet race last week. I'm sure trying to wrestle that through the Red Bull Ring was not an easy task.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now that I'm just looking, it looks like Degani and Everson are doing this similar pace last lap, about a 10th difference. But that gap's still around 4 seconds, so Degani's just sort of running quite nicely at the moment. I've also noticed, have you seen Degani's livery is under SWIT, the same as Charles, but it's slightly. It's got the dash in the middle.
It's slightly different. Yeah, it's not got the dash. I think it is. I think it is the same team. I think the liveries have just got slightly varied names.
Yeah, I've just noticed that. I wasn't too sure.
We might see a move here, by the way, for P6. Dario Vianella just turning, just pulling up on the back of Davide Canton, coming down the straight line here. It's going to be the 296 battle of flipped numbers. Davide Canton, the number 96 Ferrari, and Dario Vianello, the number 69 Ferrari.
Yeah, well, I think everyone knows what number everyone wants to be on top. I'm not gonna say it.
Get out.
I'm not gonna say it, but you know. Nah, I'm only kidding. It's gonna be a good battle here because these two guys are been pretty close on pace from what I can tell throughout the race.
Yeah, last lap Dario was just about 4/10 faster.
Yeah, I think the overall pace has been a bit closer than that.
Yeah, their absolute lap times, so their best lap times are only split by a 10th. So yeah, these guys very close on pace.
Yeah, these guys are really quick, and then obviously you have Maggio and Sharon, who's actually hang on, Maggio's catching.
Yeah, Maggio is catching. It was 3/10 again last lap. The gap has come down. It was about 3. It's now just under 2. So it's slow gains for Francesco Maggio. A couple of tenths here and there. No kind of big, I'm going to go out and gain 8 tenths or a second on you in one lap. But just slowly reeling him in.
Yeah. Although any gains is a good gain, really. Just got to bide your time with a lot of these types of races. It's all about just being consistent and just managing and biding your time. Because if you can tell that if you're getting a 10th or 2, from my personal experience, there's not much point pushing much harder, because you're just going to hurt your tires more, and then by the time it comes closer to the pit stops, you're going to be worse off. Just keep managing that pace, because you clearly got some sort of pace on the car ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And last lap it was 5 tenths, just less than, for
exactly.
And for Francesco Maggio. So the gap is definitely closing. And I would always say that the kind of just go out and be consistent in any race where you've got to do a pit stop. That is the better strategy. Is to just go out and be consistent in a sprint race. 35 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever. Fair enough. Go out there and pound around and try and do your best lap every lap, because you know the tyres will last and the fuel will last. You don't have to worry about making a pit stop to top either of those things up. So use them up. You've got them to use. Burn them. But yeah, in a race of this length where you've got to make a fuel stop and you've got to make a tyre stop as well, you do have to think about when is the right time to push, when's the right time to back off, and finding a rhythm to settle into is very important.
Yeah, and that's something that we've been trying to teach the academy guys and the esports guys. Well, the esports guys know this already, but trying to teach the academy guys, just being consistent over one lap pace is much more important.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's not an
'Cause
easy
if
thing
you-
to do, you know, because
No.
sometimes you do physically have to drive slower than you know you can. But
Yeah.
the thing is that actually, if we're talking, you know, if you're doing, let's say, a 12-hour endurance race, and you're doing 4 out of those 12 hours, you're in a 3-man team. Across those 4 hours, if you go out and do consistent, let's say we're driving here, you go out and do consistent 141.5s for that whole 4-hour stint, or in that kind of area for your whole stint, the whole 4 hours that you're in the car, it's better than going out and doing 1-minute 40s, but every 6 laps you put it in the wall and pick up 7 seconds of damage or whatever, because you can't actually maintain the pace.
Yeah, exactly. Like, being able to be fast is obviously key, but being consistent is a much harder, much better skill to have. Because like, even with, like, as you say, like endurance races, like, yeah, great if you can bang in the fastest lap of the race, but if you can't keep it out of the wall, what's the point?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As they
the only way
always
to finish the race is to actually get over the line. So
yeah, absolutely. That's what I was about to say. That as the great saying goes, to finish first you have to finish. You know,
exactly.
you got to get to the line. Otherwise, there's no point doing any of it.
Yeah. I did 24 hours of Nordschleifer a few months ago and had to actually DNF. Because I think it was like 5 in the morning and it was me. I was driving and there's no one else online, and I'd ordered pizza the night before. The night before, I got food poisoning.
Oh,
at like
mate.
At like 5:30 in the morning, and had to jump out of the rig in the dotting.
That's horrific, man.
I don't know where the car ended up, and we ended up DNFing because I couldn't get anyone online for like an hour. I just went to bed. I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
oh well.
understandable, mate.
Yeah, it happens. Just a funny tale from when I did not finish an endurance race. Yeah, as I see, like, Dario isn't really pushing against Canton at the moment. And that's fair enough. Like, they're keeping pretty much the same pace, or less than a tenth from each other, the last lap.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're just pretty happy to be, you know, clearly Dario has decided that Davide Canton's pace is a happy pace for him to be running at. So he might as well sit in the slipstream, use a bit less fuel, because obviously the engine isn't having to work as hard to push him through the air. So for him, this is realistically a win-win situation. He's driving at a pace where he doesn't have to worry about the cars behind, because he's pulling away from them consistently. And if he knows he hasn't got the pace to close that 6-second gap to the cars in front, then this is what's best worth his time right now.
Although we say that, he is less than 2 tenths behind him now.
Yeah, a little mistake from Davide, wasn't there?
Yeah, just wondering if Dario's going to think about the move if he stays that close to him. But as you say, it looks like for the last few laps he's been just happy to sit there and just sit in the slipstream and just get the consistent laps in.
Yeah.
Same goes for looks like Maggio. Him and Sharon did almost the exact same lap time last lap. It's going to be interesting to see if he can keep that
Both
up.
in the pits. P6 and P7,
nice.
both in the pits.
Very interesting. I would have thought one would have. I would have thought maybe
One
Dario
would have come in and the other one would have stayed out. Yeah.
Yeah, because normally you do the opposite just to like do something different.
Yeah, maybe, you know, I guess the thing is we're coming up, 45 minutes left to go, so these guys are doing the 35-45 split that I was talking about earlier on.
Yeah.
Andrea Morganella also in the pit lane, although he's 2 laps down, so this possibly isn't a scheduled pit stop. We've lost someone. Who haven't we got that we had before? Oh, no, we have still got 15. No, we haven't got 15 people. Who's gone?
No, the 888 McLaren's gone.
Oh, yes, which was being...
Cadovus.
Yes, yes,
I
yeah.
butchered your name. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're right. Kostas Bevedas
He's
has
gone. I wonder if he
gone,
put
left
a
the
message
session.
in. He
No,
must have
there's
had an
nothing
incident, and
in the Toga Discord right now.
no, he maybe had an incident, and he was just retired the car.
And hey guys,
Um,
did you know that if you do exclamation mark, I hope this still works. It doesn't still work. That's brilliant for me. Now I look like a total melon. But you can find all the information on our Discord in our bio and in the links.
if you look at the description of this stream, you will also see all the links. So that Ollie looks less like a lemon.
Thank you for at least trying to save face for me.
No worries.
So yeah, please, if you're enjoying what you're seeing and feel like maybe taking part in some Toga races is what's going to be the right thing for you, then feel free to come along and join us. Final round of the World Tour is next Friday. We've got the Rookie Wednesday Championship on at the moment as well, but we've also got some events starting up in the coming days. In fact, Member Mondays starts on Monday evening coming, which is for all of our brilliant supporters here at Toga. If you want to support Toga in any way, we don't make it a requirement to become a member to us, but we do have significant financial outgoings to be able to put on all of this racing that we do. So if you'd like to support Toga, you can head on to the Discord and follow the membership button, which will take you to the Toga member website. Plans start from as little as £1 a month and gain you some brilliant little early access to events, so you can sign up before other people even know that they're happening. You also get to reserve your car number for any rounds, any events that you are taking part in under the Toga banner. And you also get other little perks, possibly, if depending on what level you subscribe to, you might get money off of the merch store. You also get a multiplier on your ticket purchases when we do giveaways and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm doing Members Monday next week.
I haven't got the money to be a member at the moment. I'd love to.
Well, fair
but
enough.
I am poor. I probably could. I could afford £1 a month, but yeah, Oh, Davide Mandalesi makes a very late call to come into the pit lane there.
Ooh, he's in the pits. Hopefully he's recovered a little bit of the time he's lost. Yeah, I'm doing the Members Monday, and that's another thing. We've actually moved the academy sessions to Tuesdays now, I think. Assuming I'm fit for it on Tuesday. If not, hopefully somebody else will be available to take that session. I think I'll be fine over the weekend. So.
Oh, Callum Jones is in the pits as well. I hadn't noticed that.
Oh, nice.
This is going to be a little bit of a mark in the sand, really, to see where he comes out compared to other cars. This could be interesting. So we'd be expecting him to come out about 15 or 16 seconds ahead of Dario Vianello. It's about 12 seconds actually by the looks of things. No, it's definitely more than that actually, sorry. Yeah, it's gonna be about 17 seconds, I think. We'll wait and see when Dario Vianello pings past Davide Mandalesi. It's 18 seconds. So that is pretty much bang on where you'd expect.
Yeah, Degani's in the pits.
Degani's in the pits as well. Has he just come in, has he?
He's just come in, I think. Yeah.
So these need to be some big laps now for Dan Edfordson. If he can chuck some good laps together, he could close this gap in the pit cycle.
Maggio was in as well.
Yeah, plenty
He's
of
maybe
people.
looking to undercut Sharon. I'm assuming those who haven't pitted yet will probably pit in this lap or next lap.
Or next lap, yeah. Yeah, maybe we might have some people looking to do some style of overcut, but I doubt much more than kind of 3 laps in hand for an overcut around here.
Yeah. Sorry, just looking back on the YouTube, Sky, only 14 drivers. What happened? Is it? I just think it's sort of the standard thing. We're coming to end the championship. Some people just don't show up, unfortunately. I was supposed to race tonight, but I haven't been well,
Yeah.
so I'm
It is
just
partially
yapping about it
because
instead.
it is a paid championship world tour. We don't ask people to pay for many championships that we do at Toga, but obviously, sometimes it is nice to put on these paid events that allow us to kind of tide over our servers for a bit, and also the top guys take home winnings that are kind of 3 or 4 times more what they paid to enter. But that means that if people have paid the entry fee and then realise they're not going to win anything, they just stop turning up, which is disappointing, because you can still go out and have good racing without having to worry about that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I agree. I would have loved to race tonight, because Imola's one
there's
of
been
my favourite tracks.
oh, there's not been an issue for Dave Brewster. Sorry, he was in the pit lane and is now leaving the pit lane. I don't know why it's not classing him as still being in the pit lane, because he is. But it didn't show that he was in the pit lane at all. Oh, he's been DSQ'd.
Oh.
Fun. I have
What's just happened?
no clue what that's for. I don't know. He came into the pit lane. Did he maybe get shouldered into the pit lane? I don't know what's going on. I haven't seen it at all. But I think maybe did he massively speed into the pit lane? Maybe, I don't know.
Do you get DSQ'd for a certain speed in the pit lane?
If you're doing like 100, if you're doing like 100+ kilometers an hour into the pit lane, you might get you're at risk of getting DSQ'd for it because it's such a high speed.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. I just wasn't sure if there was a ceiling for that or not.
So
Sharon, Fasttail, Lele are all in the pits as well.
yeah, Sharon's moving now. And Callum Jones is going to be coming past any second. It is going to be before he gets out the pits. We're going to see him appearing on the map. There he is. Although it's not going to be miles apart. There he is. Callum Jones goes past. And Maggio is not going to be far away.
Maggio, he's actually lost time, I think. He's lost about 2 seconds in the pit stops. That's interesting. I thought he was trying to undercut Sharon there, but it hasn't quite worked out for him. Unfortunately. As Aries come out P8 behind Zanchi. Has everyone completed their pit stop? Other than Dan Everson, of course.
Yeah, I think possibly what has happened with Francesco Maggio is that we're seeing relatively low temperatures here. Only 21 degrees on track, 16 degrees air temperature. So I think it might just be taking those tyres a little while to get into the operating window.
Yeah.
So I expect
possible.
I expect over the kind of tail end of this lap and most of next lap, we'll see Francesco Maggio taking time out of Yuval Sharon.
Yeah. As Dan Everson's about 68, 69, 70 seconds ahead of Degani. I don't actually know how much time you lose in a pit stop here.
Imola has a long pit lane.
It does, that's why I'm not sure.
So you'd be looking...
Obviously you're stopped for 30 and you're probably moving up and down the pit lane
yeah,
for
stop
at
for
least
30. Stop for 30. Add a second on either end of the stop for getting in the air and getting out the air. And starting the engine and whatnot. Here we go, Dan Everton into the pits. We are going to be watching Alexei Degani, who is currently in Tosa. That feels like a long way away to take the position here. And Dan Everton, in all credit to him, has been pumping in good laps. 140.9 that last lap.
Yeah.
He's been consistently in the 140s since Alexei Degani came into the pits. So this is going to be close, I expect.
Dan's just stopped now. So I think Degani's got him.
I think Degani has got him, but I think the gap's going to be closer.
Yeah, it will be a little bit closer, I think. And Dan Everson will have 3-lap New Year tires as well, so it's gonna be an interesting end to the race for sure.
I'll be able to tell you actually.
Commentators, any tips for strategy in the next Rookie Wednesday in Barcelona? It's Barcelona, so your tires are gonna be eaten take tires in the pit stop is my suggestion. Because I believe in the rookies, it's mandatory for fuel only. Take tires.
Here comes Alexei Degani, and Dan Edvardsson is off the pit limiter button now. I think that gap is probably going to be about 5.5, 6 seconds, which is pretty much where it was.
I think Dan Edvardsson's now just hoping that his tires are fresh enough to start closing that gap.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can tell you the time difference in tyres is about 5 minutes, which is 4 laps. That's around here, I believe.
Three and a half laps?
Yeah, 3.5 laps.
Yeah, about that.
So yeah, he does have the tyre advantage, but we'll have to wait and see whether it's going to be enough. Interestingly, also, I just want to point out here is that Dan Edvardsson does have a higher speed trap. He is faster in a straight line than that Bentley, so if he can get up behind him and get in the slipstream, a move should be relatively easy. And surprise, surprise, by the way, you won't guess which car has the highest speed trap round here, will you?
Just guessing here. Would it be the Mustang by chance?
No, why would it be the Mustang? No,
not
at all. Yes, absolutely it is the Mustang. 274 kilometers an hour, the top recorded speed around here. Which compared to the slowest, he's got 8 kilometers an hour in hand over the slowest, which is tied between the Bentley and Andrea Morganella's BMW M4.
Hang on, the Bentley's got the lowest speed trap?
Yeah, Bentley has got the lowest, 266, tied with Andrea Morganella. Yeah.
I think that just shows how impressive that Bentley's been in the corners for such a big car.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a few cars that are breaking 270. It's pretty much 50-50 whether they're over 270 or just under it for speed traps at the moment. Everyone pretty evenly matched.
Yeah, most sitting sort of 1 or 2 kilometers an hour around 170.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or 270, sorry, not 170.
Yeah, a kilometre above or a kilometre below, pretty much.
Yeah. Then you got the couple outsiders, obviously the Mustang, and then the Bentley and the BM of Morganella. And actually, Sharon's Ferrari's only 267. Interesting. It's the slowest Ferrari by 4 kilometers an hour. Definitely got more downforce in that car to handle the corners compared to the straights.
Yeah, for sure.
Hello, Charlie. Welcome to the chat. How you doing? We didn't really do live shooting, did we?
I'm kind of tempted to ask if I can sign up for this next week without paying, seeing that it's the last round and the grid's been so empty, because I do love a bit of Bathurst. I'm not going to win anything, because everyone that's going to win the prizes has already got loads of points.
I forgot it was Bathurst next week. I'm in the Porsche. It's going to be a disaster.
Oh, you're going to go backwards down Skyline, my friend. Have fun with that.
The downwards hill section is good. I'm going to be hitting every single wall on the way down.
Every wall that has ever and will ever exist.
DB Racing, my bad, speeding in the pit lane, misjudged it by a mile. I'll be back for the hill next week.
Yeah, that'll be Dave Brewster. Yeah.
Unlucky, man. It happens. It happens to everyone. Sometimes you just misjudge it and you don't realise it until it happens. But unlucky, sure, we'll see you at the hill next week. I should be racing next week, so that'll be good fun. Charlie has said you're to do it. He wants to see you crash lap 1.
Oi! I can get around a lap of Bathurst. I can't get around 2, but I can do 1.
Yeah.
I can do 1 on its own. Ask me to chain them together and I start struggling a bit.
I mean, if you qualify anywhere close to me, I'll probably end up taking you out somewhere.
No, please no.
I am awful at Bathurst. I hate that track.
Give me minus 40 kgs and I'll do it in the Jag. I've got a setup for it and everything.
That would be kind of funny. I would pay to watch that.
We were gonna do it. We were gonna do a staff event at the tail end of last year where we did 6 hours of Bathurst and all the staff team had to do it solo in the Jag. But we
That'd be
just
funny.
everyone ran into some personal issues at the tail end of last year, and we just couldn't get everyone together to do it for the
Yeah.
date that we'd set.
Do you know what I'd love to see happen? Maybe this is a suggestion for the boss man. But like, I saw somebody post in earlier about doing a one-off event with the writer. I would love to see that just for the laugh it would be.
The Writer
I
is
think-
such a horrific car.
I did the 8 hours on Monza at the start of the year. I think Hayden and all was doing it as well. Yeah, Hayden was doing it. And there was a writer taking part in that. Problem was, it was raining on and off every 30 minutes. The writer in the drive was
I remember
quite
that
fast,
race.
but
Yeah.
the second it rained, it just dropped like a stone.
Well, the problem is the second you need a corner, the second you've got a corner that needs downforce, it just flails. It doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, it's a shocking car.
I was watching someone was driving it at a Silverstone race. Must have been a couple of weeks ago. A staff member from another Discord was driving it for lols in one of his own events, and it just turn one just spun every single turn one on the F1 track. This is
Oh yes, Abbott.
just spun every lap. Every single lap, it was backwards by the time it got to the apex of the F1 track, turn one. It was ridiculous how bad it was. You had if you didn't want to spin, you had to brake and downshift into that corner, like full on the brakes.
That is so dumb.
Now most
I
cars,
honestly wonder why it's in the game at this point.
even on full fuel, you only have to do a lift into that corner. Some cars, it's better to do a dab on the brakes for the stability. There's no car in the game, at least in GT3s, where you have to get fully on the brakes into that corner, even on full race fuel. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
I don't get why it's still in the game. Like at this point, they should just remove it. Nobody uses it,
No one's used it in years. It's such a shocking car.
and they refuse to do anything with it.
They
To
looked
try and
at
make it at least
They looked
usable.
at the original Lamborghini Huracan, which was bad enough in itself as a GT3 car, and were like, what if we took that and made it like 3 times worse?
Three's been
Three is being generous. No, I know.
Yeah, it's about 25, really.
yeah. What if we took the original Lamborghini Huracan GT3 and made it at least 20 times worse? And hence the writer was born, built in someone's shed somewhere. Not even a professional team, I don't think.
You would almost think the 4 wheels aren't connected to each other.
You really would, wouldn't you?
Like that's how bad it is.
It's pretty good in a straight line though,
Oh yeah.
because
but
it doesn't have
like-
much aero and produces, the 800 brake horsepower that these cars do.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but as soon
600.
as soon as you tell it to turn, it's just like nah. I'm not doing that.
It doesn't
Sorry
like
to
the
tell you that.
brakes either.
Oh yeah, you've more chance of breaking with 2 sheets of paper.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I love how we're
Yeah, they've
getting
got-
on the writer now. I love
they've got
it.
like cling film for brakes. It's ridiculous. It is really ridiculous.
You'd be better just hoping and dreaming you can make the corner.
Yeah, you'd be better getting out and just like pushing on the front of the car to try and slow it down. To be entirely honest.
Right,
And that would
okay, I love
involve some serious injuries if you
Oh,
tried
yeah.
to do that.
I'm here for the writer hate. It's great.
Oh, hello to Ben_JS14. I missed that in the Twitch chat. Sorry, mate. Hello. I've not had my OBS open for the last 15 minutes or so, because I've been keeping up with some stuff that is happening in a Discord server whilst I've been commentating. So sorry for that.
You looking at the gossip?
Yeah, a little bit of gossip here and there, everywhere at the moment, mate. I swear, there's constant drama in every Discord server that I'm in at the moment. It is ridiculous.
That's always fun. I like to stay away from drama, but it doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. Davide Mandalesi, by the way, currently in P10. Closing in. We've lost... oh, yeah, of course. Dave got DSQ, didn't he? That's why we're down to 13. And Davide
Yes. Yeah.
Mandolesi was closing in on Bruno Zanchi. Then he got very sideways through the second chicane, and that gap has opened back up to 1.6 seconds. It was down to 0.5, 0.4, not any more.
Yeah. I just noticed there's a lot of protests happening in my area again this weekend, and I'm just praying they do not come my direction because I will not be happy. Obviously they've been happening all week, so it's not fun.
No, absolutely. Big shows from the from communities up and down the UK though in the last week, especially the last couple of days. Big shows of solidarity from UK communities.
Yeah, but then you have the not so nice people just wrecking things because they can.
Oh yeah, I mean I don't know if you saw in Brighton there was about 2,500 counter protesters, and only 4 showed up that was supposed to be taking part in all the rioting and the destruction of property and all of that lot.
Yikes.
And they ended up having to the police ended up having to ferry them into the back of a police van, not because they were arresting them, but because they basically said, look, you've been completely outnumbered here, you're just leaning up against a building doing nothing, so we're just going to move you out of the area and then you can all walk home.
Yeah, that's
because
fair
it's
enough.
just completely pointless.
During the 6 hours of the Nerds last week, obviously I did a bit of commentary on it, but I was out with a friend, out for lunch and stuff. I tried to come back and all the roads were closed because it was supposed to be a peaceful protest, was not a peaceful protest. They ended up burning out several cars, and I think they torched 2 businesses on some of the streets close to me, so yeah, that's all fun. Because they're protesting again tonight, and there's hundreds of them at the City Hall a couple of miles from me, which I'm not too pleased about, but, you know, as long as it doesn't come my way, that's the main thing. But, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll swiftly move on from that. Won't settle on that for too long because
yeah. Apologies, I got sidetracked there.
Because Twitch and YouTube will get angry at us. Oh, yeah, that's a lunge from Davide Mandolesi. Bruno Zanchi manages to see it coming and gets out of the way.
Oh my! Oh, that was ambitious.
Yeah, absolutely. Davide proving just how difficult it is to pick out the braking zone.
And I can guarantee he was only like a couple of meters off, and it's just that momentum you fling down into that corner. I was actually looking. Francesco Sala has a drive-through penalty.
I would assume that's for track limits. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have live steering at the moment, so that'd be track limits.
No, unless someone has managed to hack into the passwords database and decided that this was the best use of their hacking skills, was to hand out drive-throughs in a Toga Motorsport race, then yeah, we'll assume that was for for track limits.
That would be quite the way to spend your Friday evening.
That would be a very sad way to spend your Friday evening, realistically, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. To be fair, track limits is quite easy around this track, especially like Agra Minerale section, like this part where Zanchi's going through now. It's so easy to run slightly too wide. So I'm not surprised to see a drive-through here for someone. It's hard to stay within track limits here because whenever you're pushing the car, you're always right on the edge, especially through like the chicane, the first 2 chicanes in the first sector. Like you're right up against the edge of the curb through most of those corners, and it's just tricky. But sort of not surprised to see a drive-through, but at the same time, it's not nice to see.
Yeah, for sure.
One thing I've also want to point out is been such a clean race. I don't think we've had really any incidents other than a couple of door banging moments.
Yeah, there might have been that one early on with Davide down at the first chicane. And there was that second one where he spun across the front of the Aston Martin as well. So there's been a couple, but overall pretty clean. Obviously, it helps that we've got just less cars on track.
That is true. I don't know, I just felt like the Red Bull Ring last week was much more chaotic. Well, I suppose that was raining, so that attributes to that. But,
Yeah, for sure. Here we go.
uh,
Francesco Maggio, 1.1 seconds off the back of Yuval Sharon. This gap, he's continued to just tick it down over the laps. Last lap it was 4/10 gained. This lap has been another 4/10 or so, I believe, from when I momentarily looked at the gap as they came across the start-finish line. And it's not going to be long until he is feeling the benefits of that slipstream off the back of the bright yellow Ferrari 296, and we could see a move here for P4 in the closing quarters of this race.
yeah, as Morganella's all over the back of the Aston Martin of Lely for P12. There was a moment where he was 0.1 behind. It's fallen back a little bit at the moment, but I'll keep a little eye on this one. It looks like that BMW in some of the corners has a lot more pace. There's a little bit of damage to the front of that Aston Martin as well, potentially. I'm wondering, is that lingering damage from the Davide
From the
incident?
contact with Davide, possibly, although I can't see.
It just looks like scuffing on the front of the car. Maybe it's just my eyes.
Yeah, maybe there is a little bit. It's difficult to tell.
There is some
On that colour.
The bonnet's actually flapping a little bit. It's hard to see. I just F7 to the front of the car to look.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Oh, and I was about to say Francesco Sala's making a pit stop. He's not. He's serving his drive-through. But yeah, going to be moves coming here towards the end of the race. We've got Davide Mandalesi trying to get past Bruno Zanchi. We've got Andrea Morganella trying to get past Lely as well. Although that won't be for position, because Andrea Morganella is a lap down on that car.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Yeah, you're right. My bad.
Yeah, and we've got obviously Francesco Maggio trying to get past Yuval Sharon for what would be P4, and a nice little points result for Francesco Maggio if he can get this tied up.
Yeah, it's the gap is teetering around 0.9 to 1 second at the moment, so the Ferrari's going to be under a little bit of pressure shortly if he isn't already feeling it.
No, absolutely.
As the gap last lap was just under a tenth, about 8/100ths. So the Ferrari's maybe just putting a little bit more pace in the car just to hold him off. As that McLaren will start to feel some of the slipstream from the Ferrari. As he gets a little bit closer.
A quick shout out to Amirius, subscribed to the Twitch channel at Tier 1 for 3 months. Thank you very much, Amirius, for your support through Twitch. It is gratefully and thankfully received.
Awesome to see, man. Nicely done. Thank you very much.
0.4 the gap. Yeah, we both picked that up at the same instant there, I think.
Yeah. It's been hovering around 0.4 to 0.6 for about a lap and a half. Davide's just holding fire at the moment. Isn't trying to push too hard against that car right now. Maybe just looking to pick his moment. Wait to see if Zanchi will make any mistakes. And try and then... well, to be fair, last lap he was nearly a second quicker.
Yeah, both invalid last lap as well, so they've both been off track somewhere on that last lap. And the gap is closing a little bit, and Bruno Zanchi hasn't been mistake-proof this race, as he's just shown by going a little bit deep through Minerali. The gap down to 0.3, but neither is Davide Mandalesi, so a little bit of a waiting game to see, who blinks first, who makes that first crucial mistake.
Yeah, I think just the pressure at the start of the race, especially for Zanchi, having like multiple cars breathing down his neck. Like the pressure does get to you, even if it may not look like it from just watching perspective, but when you're driving and there's a car right up your back bumper for laps on end, the pressure gets to you. And it does become very easy to make a mistake. Doesn't matter the caliber of driver you are, it can't, when you're under pressure, it's hard to keep doing the consistency to stay ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's no nothing saying anything bad about any of the drivers. It's just it's such a a difficult spot to be in when you're under so much pressure. That you just everyone is more prone to making a mistake. It doesn't, you know, that's not to take away from how good these drivers are. They're all fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
As it looks like Maggio's, he's still sort of just hovering around like maybe a tenth faster each lap at the moment. Well, actually, last lap was about at 1.4 tenths, so slowly just getting closer. Not pushing the car too hard.
Yeah, 0.8 the gap for Francesco Maggio as well. 0.4 right now for Davide. He's just getting a better run through the exit of most of these corners here. I think he is, starting to sense where Bruno Zanci's weaknesses are compared to his strengths in that BMW. And here's the move. Oh, I think Davide will have had to get out the throttle to avoid hitting Bruno Zanci, which I think has been Zanci's saving grace there.
Yeah, that was a big mistake. They're taking too much curb. The Ferrari can take the curbs there, but not that much. Almost let Davide through there. Just had to back off there at the last moment. Yeah,
Davide, if he'd kept in the throttle there, almost definitely would have turned Bruno Zanci. And Davide, a sensible racer and very clean racer as well, realised that that was what was going to happen and got out of the throttle before it did.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very easy to just at that moment in time go, oh, I've got the position, and just throttle down, but...
Yeah, absolutely.
Davide sensed the potential consequences there of taking both of the cars out.
0.2.
Oh, yeah, look how close he's getting.
Yeah, Davide playing the tactical game now. When he gets within that kind of 0.3, 0.2 range, he just starts showing himself in the... He just starts to show himself in the mirror of Bruno Zanci. Obviously, these cars all have a virtual rear view mirror that you see the cars behind in anyway. But just moving around in it, being somewhere that you're not used to seeing a car behind being, catches your attention, and if it steals your attention in an important corner or in an important braking zone, it can force an error. So Davide just playing that game, being in the places Bruno Zanci wouldn't expect him to be, trying to take the attention off the track, even if it's only for half a second.
Yeah, and then that combined with the pressure of having that BMW right on your rear end, I think it plays in your mind a lot. You just know the car's there, even if you're not paying attention to the mirror at that moment.
Yeah.
You're aware the car is there.
Yeah,
and that
for sure.
Obviously will steal a little bit of your attention, even if you don't think it does. A part of your brain's always thinking about that.
No,
so
absolutely.
It makes it harder to hold them off. It's Maggio getting to the 140s last lap. Nearly 2 tenths, well, a tenth and a half faster than Sharon last lap. So 0.6 is now the gap.
Yeah, those guys really close, pushing each other on.
The gap was 0.3 there momentarily, but it's now back up to 0.6. So must have had a slightly bad exit out of Acro Minerale.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
and it's
Maggio's closing slowly but surely.
It's these laps where you're driving with another driver so close to you that you have to start pushing.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. And then you find very quickly that actually you can be faster than you can be faster than you have been, because you're so concentrated on sticking with the car that's directly in front of you that you'll push a little bit harder, you'll carry that extra kilometre an hour through the corner. You'll brake, 2 meters later than you have been. So actually just driving with another car ahead of you is a very, very effective way to find pace around a track.
Yeah, and you also because you're following them, you can see what lines they're taking, and if it's something different to you, you can sort of be like, maybe that's where I'm not gaining the 10th on this lap, or something like that. It lets you play around with the track, because especially if they're doing something slightly different. Obviously, some cars take slightly different lines, so it might not work, but sometimes you might find little things that will help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little tips from another driver, just to be like, oh, that's where I can push the car a little bit harder, or whatever, or brake a little bit later.
Just to interrupt momentarily, Davide Mandalesi 0.2 behind on the straight towards Variante Tamburello. Not close enough this time. He did get the better run out the corner, but that BMW just not quite quick enough for Davide at the moment. If we have a look, they've got Bruno Zanchi and Davide Mandolesi have exactly the same terminal velocity. They've got the exact same top speed in this car so far. So Davide, as I was saying earlier, is going to have to sit really deep in that slipstream to get enough overspeed to get past Bruno Zanchi if he wants to make a move happen. He's got to try and be incredibly close.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to need to have a really good run out over Vatsa 2 right on the bumper of that Ferrari if he wants a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. And another battle developing.
Yeah, we've noticed it again at the same time.
Yeah.
Davide 2 is
right on the back of Dario Vianello.
Yeah, about half a second back. This is another battle for position. As it looks like Davide Canton's last lap was nearly a second faster.
Yeah, so it was, absolutely.
I wondered to see how much faster he has been this lap if he's got this close. Because it's only been the last half lap or so that this has happened.
I think there's definitely been a little bit of a mistake from... Yeah, that lap, 8/10.
Another 8/10 difference.
Yeah, so that's where the time gain has come from.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, it looks like Davide Canton. Oh, as Dario's sliding all over the place in that Ferrari. Davide almost makes contact.
Drive through for Davide Mandolesi, and he's into the pit lane.
Oh, that's so unlucky for Davide. He was doing some great racing there. Yeah. He's going to lose the position to Lele.
He's got a position to Lele, and no, it shouldn't be a position to Francesco Sala.
No, I think he'll only lose about 30 seconds total.
But yeah,
that's unfortunate for Davide.
That was scary for a moment there with Dario Vianella and Davide Canton. Dario just going.
From angle, you could just see how close it was. It was a few millimeters at most.
Yeah, Davide went deep into the apex of turn 1, the first part of the triple header Variante Tamburello. And Davide, following the perfect racing line, ended up having so much overspeed that there was almost contact coming into the second apex. And coming out of the second apex as well on the switch towards the apex of turn 3.
Yeah, Dario doesn't look that comfortable in that Ferrari. The car seemed to slide around a lot. So he's maybe when did he pit? How long's? Hang on,
these guys pit at the same time. These guys are the two that came in at exactly the same time.
Yes, you're right. They did, and they're both doing the exact same top end speed in the speed trap. So. Maybe Dario's not feeling as comfortable at this moment in time.
Yeah, maybe Dario just has pushed a little bit too hard on the tyres, taken a little bit more life out of them than Davide has. Also with the curbs around here as well, tyre pressure loss is quite common if you run these curbs spectacularly hard. So it could just be that with the softer tyres, that setup isn't quite working in the same way it was when they were at 26.8 or 26.9 psi. Because you wouldn't think it would make that much of a difference, but oh
no, even like 0.1 or 0.2 of a psi does make a difference.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
won't notice it unless you won't really notice it if it's 0.1 or 0.2, but there is a slight difference. You only really visibly notice it if you're like half a psi off.
Yeah.
But every little 0.1 counts because that's just how much temperature you can hold in the tire and how much grip the tire has.
Yeah.
It's actually mad how much a tiny amount makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially dependent on what setup you're running as well. Anything that's like an esports type setup, your Go setups, kind of esports setups, you will want to run those with the highest pressures you can. You'll want to be bang on 27.0 psi, right at the limit of the working window, because those cars are all about being stiff and pointy, and that is what that 27 psi tyre will give you. And it's a drive-through for Andrea Morganella as well. Both of the VM Tech BMWs coming away with a drive-through in this race, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for them guys. Morganella just hasn't been his day, it seems. You know, that's all. That's all right. You have bad days in the racetrack. Everyone does.
Yeah, absolutely. You just got
Um,
to pick your head up and keep moving, which is a difficult thing to do, undeniably.
yeah, and sometimes it's hard because especially if you practice for a long time for a certain race, and in your head you want to do well. Oh, as Shara makes a mistake and Maggio's through.
Yeah, yeah. Maggio's through straight away, taking advantage of the
First,
mistake.
first mistake from Sharon lets that McLaren through for P4.
Yeah,
Sorry, getting back onto what I was saying. But yeah, it's just really that mindset of you spent hours practicing for a race and you go into it thinking you're going to do pretty all right, and then it doesn't work out that way. It can be quite difficult to deal with sometimes. Yeah, I've been there. I'm sure all of you've had the same sometimes. It just it just happens. Um, you just gotta. It's just how you move on from it. Really, just learn from it and try better next time. Because not every race is gonna go well. Stuff happens.
yeah,
That's,
yeah,
that's just
absolutely.
that's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just stuff that's out of your control, Oh, Jesus Christ, Sharon.
That was close. Ooh.
Yuval Sharon almost just taking out Francesco Maggio there, obviously not on purpose. Just a slight miss of the braking zone, and yeah, came very close to the rear right quarter panel of that completely innocent number 4 McLaren.
Oh, that was tight.
Yeah, it was incredibly close, incredibly close. Yeah, what I was saying was, sometimes it's just not even your fault. Sometimes you get in the car and you've done loads of practice for it, and you get in the car and it's really difficult to summarise. The word that people would probably most likely use is the vibe. Just isn't right. There's something that isn't quite clicking like it has been in practice, and it's not normally something that is fixable, because you're not doing anything wrong. You're not driving the car wrong necessarily. You're not your setup isn't wrong necessarily. It's just that sometimes you get in the car and the pace that you've had all week just isn't there.
Yeah.
It's a really frustrating situation to be in, actually, especially when you know that you can go faster, but you just can't. You're just at like a standstill.
Yeah, I've had plenty of those where, as you say, you spend a day practicing, and then the next day you're racing, and even when you're sitting in the cockpit, something's off, and you can't quite it's a mental game, really. This is what a lot of, like, racing is. It's a mental game. Like, yes, we're playing a video game, but a lot of it is mental still, because a lot of it requires strategy. You're thinking, the pressure under fighting other cars, thinking about where to put the car, all that sort of stuff, and where you need to, where the apex are, the braking zones. There's so much to think about, and if you're not feeling 100% in it at that moment, it's not gonna feel right, as you say, and then that just, from my experience, it's happened before where it just leads to mistakes really easily. Where things that you make mistakes that you never do, or like little silly things that just happen, and again, sometimes it's not anybody's fault. It just happens. That's
Yeah,
unfortunately the nature of the sport.
yeah, absolutely. And you see it happens in real life as well. Cars, teams, drivers that have looked really good all week get into the race and just sink like a stone. Um, it happens quite regularly in endurance racing. You see a big swing of form in the actual race compared to practice and qualifying. Um, but yeah, it's a really difficult situation. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you do, the car just doesn't feel right, and getting over that is very difficult. Ooh, this gap between the Ferraris is getting a little bit feisty, isn't it? Here we go, 0.3 of a second.
Oh,
0.4.
and we're on the leaders on the last lap, by the way.
Yeah, which means these guys have one more lap. Yeah, Alexi Degani. This is going to be... Is this going to be a little bit close to whether he sees the flag or not? No, it's not. My maths is completely out. The checker flag is going to fly as he comes round the Ravatas, I believe.
Yeah. It's gonna be about that.
Which
But
means that...
a minute 30, he'll be when
Yeah.
it's that. And yeah, he'll be in the middle of the Ravasas at that time.
Yeah, so this means that the fight for P6 and P7, this is their final lap. I don't know if they know that. I doubt they've got trackers on where Alexei Degani is.
Yeah, I think it did. I think I heard the in-game thing saying later on the final lap, so they probably do know if they heard it.
So
Maybe
here we
they're
go.
just too-
Time drops to 0, and Alexei Degani comes out the final of the two Ravatsas and is going to come to the line to take the win in the Bentley. A controlling win from flag to flag, pretty much, apart from the pit cycle laps. Brilliant, brilliant drive from the Bentley man. Really, really good. Dan Edvardsen from Denmark, the number 180 BMW, takes P2. He started on pole, just couldn't quite convert it. I am going to jump back to this battle for the next 25 seconds or so until Callum crosses the line.
It looks like Davide Canton's just holding station at the moment, but he needs to make a move now.
Yeah, is he maybe thinking down to the Ravatsas?
That's probably his last chance. Oh, as Dario goes wide.
Oh, there's contact! He comes across Davide. Callum Jones takes P3. Francesco Maggio's P4 with Yuval Sharon just a second behind in P5. And now it's P6 and 7. These guys are going to fight all the way to the end. And
oh, that's in contact!
Yeah, I'm going to call it here. Dario has just turned into the inside car there. I think that is pretty obvious.
I didn't get the full angle there, but yeah, it sort of looked like that. The angle I had was just the side of Canton's car.
Yeah, so Dario Vianello takes P6, Davide Canton takes P7. I don't doubt that there's going to be a racing incident ticket opened pretty shortly after the race for that one.
Yeah.
Davide Canton feeling probably that he should have had that position. Ari Fastel comes home P8 in the Ari Sport Aston Martin number 17. Bruno Zanchi P9 in the number 8 Ferrari, falling down the order after a challenging run at the start, getting passed by multiple cars. And the last man to finish on the lead lap will be Pierluigi Lelli, also rounding out the top 10.
Excellent. We actually lost a third car in that.
I think Morganella called time on it as well. Oh no, he's just already left the server. He did take the flag.
Okay. Yeah. Never mind. And then I just didn't see him in the server there at that moment, so I wasn't sure if he had DNF or not.
No, for sure.
Excellently done. Oh, as my ACC has just crashed.
Brilliant.
It's run out of memory again.
Brilliant.
Fantastic. News. I can't wait till my new RAM arrives so that I can upgrade it and this won't happen anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to quickly move to one of our holding screens here as we wait and see if anyone is going to come and join us for an interview this evening. Davide Canton typing in the World Tour chat already. Hopefully he keeps it sensible. Nope, he has just called him out straight away. In Italian as well. Brilliant.
I don't know how to read that, so I don't have a clue what that says. Well, I know the GG part, but other than that.
It reads, I know it's in a foreign language, but I can tell that it's passive aggressive. I can tell. I believe it's something along the lines of, just like, oh, so crashing into people is fine, or something like that. It's good sportsmanship, something sportiva. Yeah.
I just tried to translate it. Sporty swing at the end.
Yeah, that's definitely not what that means.
No, I don't think. I think Google Translate hasn't got that one right.
Yeah, I think Google Translate is missing the passive aggressive undertones in that message for sure. And we do have someone here to join us in the interview box. So
our P3 podium taker.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is P3 in the Ford Mustang, the only one in the field, and wearing the Toga Esports colours. It's Callum Jones joining us in the combox. Callum, how was that race for you?
Hi. Yeah, pretty good actually. Obviously qualifying wasn't quite where I wanted to be. Obviously P5, something I struggle with qualifying to be honest. But yeah, the Mustang helped me out quite well on the straights, got me past the McLaren and the Ferrari to get me up to P3. Where, to be honest, I think that's where my race pace put me. Front two guys were just gone, and yeah, just basically got past those two, settled in for the rest of the race, and try not to get a drive through.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Alexei Degani and Dan Edfordson have just been in a field of their own for most of this championship. They have been out there,
Indeed,
just pacing the track at an incredible speed. But yeah, the overtakes were really aided by obviously the Mustang's biggest strength, which is the fact that it goes like a rocket in a straight line.
indeed, yeah. It's especially fifth gear. Once it's in fifth gear and slipstream, it just goes. Maggio did a really good job actually helping me out going through the first overtake on the McLaren, because yeah, I had to send it around the outside. That was put a lot of trust in him. Let's say that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was some really, really brilliant racing.
But yeah, overall quite happy. Yeah, just had to not get a drive through. The setup I had on didn't help because it's basically a setup I made for Monza, but I
How
put
did you
it
get
on
around
for
the
Imola.
corners?
A little bit of rear right height and max swing, and then that was about it. That's all the changes I made. And
Did you have many warnings in the end?
3.
Oh, you had three. Oh, you had
Oh,
three.
Jesus.
Yeah, I had 3 for the last half an hour. So yeah.
So yeah, just driving to get to the end for the last for the last
Basically,
30 minutes then. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to next week, the final round. It's at Bathurst. I'm going to assume here, and this is just off an educated guess, based on what I know of Bathurst, is that it'll be very good in some parts of the track,
Yes.
namely the 2 massive straights, up mountain and down the back straight towards the chase. But I'm assuming that the up and down the mountain, it's maybe not the most brilliant car to be in.
Well, Ollie, I've yet to find out. I've not driven the Mustang yet at Bathurst since it was added to the game. So it's going to be a fun
It's
week,
going to be a
let's
bit
say
of a
that.
learning curve. Yeah, I'm
But
sure.
I love the track, so
Yeah, the bonus is that it
that
really
helps.
doesn't. The bonus is that it really doesn't matter how slow you are through the corners, because the track is so narrow that you can't overtake once you're going up the mountain anyway.
indeed.
And I'm sure you'll be unlocking some insane speeds coming down the back straight as well. So
Hope so.
should
I'll
be
give you a
relatively
toe in the
strong race.
Porsche as you overtake me.
Thanks, Barry.
Yeah, well, massive congratulations from us in the comms box, and I hope that we will see you here again next week after a crazy evening at the mountain.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. And I'll check out the stream as ever later on.
Yeah, thanks, man. Have a good rest of your evening.
Cheers.
In a bit.
You
See
too.
you, man.
Bye-bye.
Well, all in all, I think that was a very successful round 5 here at Imola. Some good racing, especially for position towards the end of towards the end of the race. There, we had some battles up and down the field that resulted in overtakes or contact in some cases. Barry, overall, what are you thinking for the race? Give me a rating out of 10.
My initial thoughts were probably going to be quite low because it was lower grid. So normally, after 25-30 minutes, it's quite spread out. But it was actually quite. It was very entertaining to watch. Some really good battles happening up and down the field. So I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
Yeah,
It was a good race.
I was thinking in the 7 ballpark as well. Yeah, absolutely.
It was just a solid race. There was some good battling going on for position right the way through.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very, very good. I hope you have a good time on track at Bathurst next week. I expect I'll probably be in the comms box, but
I
we'll
will
wait
not
and
have
see.
a good time.
What do you mean? It's only the second hardest track on the calendar. I mean, in the game. Come on, it's not it's not that bad, right?
Porsche will be in every wall on that track.
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be a lot of damage, and it's all going to be on the rear end of the Porsche because it's going in backwards.
Because you normally have to run the brake pads of the Porsche quite far back, I'm gonna have to run it really far forward
Yeah.
to keep the car some form of stable.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Otherwise, it's just gonna spin. It's gonna be brutal.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what,
Um,
I wish you the best of luck for that race next week. And I'm sure I will probably see the vast majority of you here next week for the for the stream of Bathurst, the final round of the World Tour, where we'll be able to announce who takes home the cash prize. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, cash money here at Toga Motorsports. The final round will make some changes, I expect, to that order. So from us here in the comms box, it is good night. Thank you all for coming along, and I will see you next week.
see you guys. Have a good night.